it's DIY Gemini, and it is Christmas time. So that means we're going to be doing some Christmas dupes. So let's get into it. Okay, so for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be tackling a lot of dupes for Christmas, whether it includes decor or a gift. Some of them are going to be more challenging than others. Some of them I'm not really sure how they're going to go, but we're going to try it. There are a couple that are definitely more challenging, and I'm a little intimidated. But nevertheless, you know, we always try to do something new or learn a new technique, so I will save those for later. Today, we're going to be tackling something a little bit more achievable. So it keeps the ball rolling, keeps us motivated to go to the next one. Sound like a plan, right? All right, let's get into our first one. All right, so for our first project, I thought it would be appropriate to make this, the Advent Calendar from Crate & Barrel. This Advent Calendar retails for $79, which is steep for me. I'm pretty sure I can make this for less, so let's start with that. Okay, so for our materials, so for the backing, I wanted to make sure it was a sturdy material and something that will hold up. So I got some sturdy, what feels like denim, like white denim for the back. I got a yard of it. That is way more than I need, but I wanted to make sure I have something just in case I mess up. It's always better to have more fabric than run out of fabric, because that would be so sad. For the rest of the piece, I decided that felt would be the best option, because since we're making all those pockets and have to cut for every one of those pockets, we're going to have to deal with fraying if we were to use any other fabric. So felt is actually something that where you cut it, you don't have to worry about fraying at all. So I got a yard of green fabric. It's not the exact same green as the original, but I don't mind this sagey green. I really like this one. It was in between this and a very like emerald green. I would rather go with the sagey, like neutral green anyways. So got that one. This is going to be for the star at the top. This is just regular felt in the kids craft section. I opted for the more premium version, which is 39 cents. And then this is again, the premium brown for the stump of the tree. Let's get started. It is 21 inches wide, 36 inches tall. It's 39 by 23. I want to make sure we have an extra room on the long ways, because we're actually going to fold it over so that we can put the dowel on the top. There's also extra room for the seam allowance to cover up the raw edges to the back side. So that's why there's some extra room at the bottom and on the sides. We're going to hem this up first before we put the green portion on, only because I know that I will end up cutting the green portion to whatever this original like width and length is without the hemming, and I don't want to do that. Because then when I go to hem it afterward, I know it's going to be too big, and I'm just like, ugh, I wasted so much material. So let's hem it first. So let's move on to cutting out the tree part of it. I already cut some fabric just to make it more manageable to size. Made it around the same size as this the backing piece first, just so I have a general idea of how wide and how tall I can go. So roughly like there, I think should be good. That's enough for the stump at the bottom, and then enough for the star at the top. So let's cut this off. There are 3 tiers of the tree. So we're going to fold this in half long ways, and then we're going to draw the half of the tree. So my first few attempts didn't really work out. So what I actually did was, with the open edge at the top and folded edge at the bottom, we're going to measure 6 inches from the top edge and draw a horizontal line. Then place a mark at the 8th and 16th inch mark along that line. These are where the inner corners of the tree will go. Then connect as shown via the black lines here. Look at that. Look, it works. So the advent calendar comes with a little bear that you can move around for each day. So I got a little gingerbread woman from Target in the dollar section. I think this is super cute. You could also make your own if you wanted to. And then I made a template from cardboard. This is so that it would be enough to fit her in there. But I want to test it out before I cut a bunch of pieces to make sure it actually fits 25 of these guys on to our tree that we just made. Okay, so I did some testing and ended up making the template like this U shape. This is roughly a little under 2 inches tall and 3 inches wide altogether. This is gonna work, so we are gonna cut 25 of these. Yeah, so let me get to cutting. There's a couple different options that I was going through to put the numbers on the pockets. We could have embroidered the numbers on. We could use fabric paint to paint it on. That would probably be the easiest. For the effect, I think in the luxe dupe that I was going for, I think I'm gonna have to cut the numbers individually out of the cream felt that I got. So basically I did a grid of 1 inch tall and 3/4 inch wide, and I'm just gonna cut a bunch of numbers and sew them on individually. You can also fabric glue them on as well, but I want to make sure this lasts for a long time because I'm pretty sure I'll use this every year from now on. I could use my Cricut to cut all my numbers, which will be more precise and not as much work for me to do by hand. But I do want to keep this in mind with cost and accessibility. So this one is just going to be done all by hand. And I am going to draw the lines or the numbers backwards because I plan on having this on the back, even though this is washable. Took forever. So what we're gonna do is put fabric glue to the numbers in the pockets first and then also afterward, just so it's like temporarily holds it as I get ready to sew so it doesn't move around as much. She's so cute. Okay. So quick tip about going around curves. You want to make sure you're going real slow and steady. And when you're going around a curve, okay, you want to put the needle in the lowest while it's in. You lift up your foot and then you can turn. If you find that you need more control and just do it by hand, like a little at a time, instead of using your presser foot, you can do that too, especially around these like really tight curves around this 6, and do little adjustments as you need. Cool. Now our 6 is done. All right, let's show you how to put the pocket on. So we're going to find the little corner of our pocket, put our needle about 1/8 inch in from the edge. We're going to go forward a little bit, and then we're going to put the reverse to go back, go forward, and back, and forward. So doing that a couple times just strengthens the corners. You want to do that on each corner because you're putting whatever the plush toy you're putting into the pockets or whatever you want to put in these little pockets. There's going to be a lot of strain on these corners, so you want to make sure those are really strong. And then you just go around as usual. And remember, when you're turning the fabric, you want to keep your needle down into the fabric. You can lift your presser foot up and move the fabric so that it stays in place while you turn. So again, we're in that corner, so we're going to go back and forth a couple times. All right. Snip off the little ends. We can remove our pin. And there you go. We have a little pocket. Nice. Every now and then, just check your pins, make sure they're in the right place, because I definitely did that one crooked and that one crooked. So we're going to cut our star. This is going to be the same fabric that we cut the numbers out of. So this felt here. So this is it. So let me show you how to make a template first, and then we're going to trace it onto our fabric. Basically, I took a regular sheet of printer paper, cut it in half, exactly in half like this, and then we're going to make a square. We're going to fold it in half this way, and then we're going to fold it half again. We will take our ruler and we're going to do an inch from the bottom here and an inch inward here. So we're going to create a little small square in this corner here. Draw a line and follow it all the way through. Same thing with this side. We'll take this corner into the inner corner where the fold is. And then flip it around. We'll do the same thing. We'll do the outer corner into this inner corner. And now I'll tell you where to cut. So we're going to cut this off, and this off, and this off. All right, so let's cut off our pieces. Open up our star. And there you go. That's our star. Since fabric doesn't really fold flat completely like paper does, it is better to do the template on paper, unfold it, and trace it this way, because otherwise there's room for mistakes if you try to do that same method directly onto the fabric. We are going to sew the perimeter of the tree all the way around onto our white canvas. It's already pinned down. Before we sew that, we also cut the stump of the tree, because this is going to actually tuck it under here first, so that when we sew all the way around, it's going to be completed in there as well. The stump width is going to be the same width as the star, which is 5.5, and the height I ended up going with was 4 inches. After we sew the tree on there, we are going to place our star on top, and then we're going to sew that on, and then we're almost done, guys. Using some sort of string like macrame, we're going to cut 2 long strands. One for attaching our gingerbread plush to the calendar and one to hang through our dowel. I don't have any macrame on hand, so I'm going to use some yarn I already had. To feed the yarn through the holes of the dowel, we're going to use a needle threader, for which I have a short on how to use one of these. I'll link it below. So now the last step is to add some polka dots to our canvas. I definitely recommend using a stamp of some kind instead of painting and drawing these out individually like I did. If you can't find a circle stamp, you can always make one out of a potato or a sponge. It will save a lot of time and be more uniform. Alright, so our next project is another easy one, probably easier than the first one. These are the beautiful gingerbread houses from Pottery Barn, but they're like $40 to $50 each, which is absurd to me because it's just like, no, no. So we're going to do these. I think that one's super easy, super achievable, super DIY-able. I've seen a couple of different variations of this already, but let's go do our own. First, we're going to start with the base. I got the ceramic ones from Joann's. They come already pre-lit. You can certainly find any variations of these at Target, the dollar store, or Walmart. Next, we're going to take some brown acrylic paint I already had in raw sienna. I decided it was not the color I really was hoping for, so I actually mixed in some burnt sienna. For the decorations, I picked up this dots paint in hopes that I could be more precise with my lines. You can also use fabric puff paint for this or a freehand brush. I personally feel like I had more control with this dots paint, but I definitely wasn't perfect. I didn't have a real plan on how I wanted to decorate these. I just made it up as I went. You can really customize these however you like, and when in doubt, just put a bunch of dots and swirlies. Now that both projects are done, let's tally up our totals. Okay, as a quick reminder, our original advent calendar at Crate & Barrel was $79. Compared to ours, using some supplies I already had, our total comes out to under $9, saving us 70 bucks. I think that's pretty good. As for the gingerbread houses from Pottery Barn, they cost a whopping $40 to $50 each. How much was the set for the 2 of ours? $19.48 for the set. Assuming we would get one smaller one for $40 and one larger one at $50 at Pottery Barn, our version saved us about also $70 again. Let's go! Okay! Alright, that wraps up week 1 of our DIY dupes. I am excited that we saved a bunch of money by doing these. And they're handmade by moi, so it's always that extra special thing. I'm super excited to show you the next dupes coming up in the next couple weeks. I definitely am really, really excited for some of these to see how it will work out, because I really had to like think of how I can put this together, and it's involved physics, and man, it's been a while. It's been a while. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you next week for the next dupes. All right, until then, bye-bye.